Hey guys, what's up? Today we're diving into Advanced Server to check the latest update. This week's packed with changes, so let's dive right in. First up is Fanny. The developers have fixed the bug where her first skill was triggering automatically when using her ultimate with a cable. Here's an example on official server. This is the normal damage of her ultimate. But if you use her ultimate with a cable, the damage goes up, and it's because her first skill was activated during her ultimate. On Advanced Server, they fixed that issue. As you can see, the ultimate damage is the same. So yeah, that bug was boosting Fanny's burst damage, but don't freak out just yet because there's an upside to this patch. Her first skill now has higher damage. Early game gets a plus 25 base damage boost, and the attack scaling gets a nice plus 2% bump as well. And there's more. Her ultimate will also be adjusted. The attack scaling is lowered from 240 down to 200, but the good news is the improved stack damage. Each stack will now increase her damage to 30% instead of the old 20. Let's run a quick test to see it in action. As you can see, the new version has the higher damage when the enemy is marked. Now, I'm not really a Fanny player, but this should be a big hit to their damage, right? So what do you think Fanny means? Is this a fair adjustment? Moving on, we have Vale. Now that his airborne duration is shortened, the developers had to make him stronger in other ways. And they'll start with his second skill by increasing its damage, as well as shortening its cooldown in the late game. And that's not all. Aside from making the ultimate explode faster, this skill now has a stronger pull effect. I don't know why, but when I compared the two, it felt like the official server version still had the stronger pulling effect. Maybe because it explodes faster, right? So faster explosion, stronger pull effect, and shorter cooldown on his second skill. Next on our list is Aurora. Her second skill will have a longer cooldown with an addition of 1 second on all levels. The developer said her survival, crowd control, burst, and AoE damage made her too powerful, that's why they had to tone her down. Next is Xavier, where the force swing of the second skill has been reduced. They said it's a way to easily cast his 1-2 combo even in close distance. I tried it and it's really easier to do. When I tested it on official server, I kept missing my combos. The developer said Xavier lacks self-protection when in close range, that's why they had to implement this. Additionally, they also increased the damage of his second skill. That's a plus 20 to 40 base damage and an extra 5% magic power scaling. This should make playing Xavier a lot easier, especially in the assassin meta. Next is the revamped Lunox. The developer said her performance has far exceeded their expectations. To fix this, they will make the following changes. First and second skills will have a longer cooldown, from 2 to now 3 seconds. Her light ultimate will also have longer cooldown as well as lower damage. More cooldown means she'll be more vulnerable often. The good news is that it now deals 100% extra damage to minions. Remember, she can now easily switch between light and dark mode, that's why they had to apply these nerfs. And it seems they are really set on implementing the removal of her third skill. Next on our list is Argus. His energy regen is back, but they've lowered it to 5 points per second. His skills, however, are the ones that got hit. Lower damage on his second and ultimate skill. The developer said he should focus more on activating his passive instead. I think it's still too early to judge this new Argus. Remember, they've added some new features that made him better from a few updates ago. Moving on, we have Badang. After gathering feedback, the developers have decided to keep his enhanced basic attacks. The stun duration, however, is lowered from 0.8 down to 0.6 seconds. So the attack speed Badang is back, and based from last month's patch, his skills received some damage boost. Overall, things are looking good for this guy. Next, we have the nerf on Ruby. The hybrid defense from her passive is lowered. If we check the stats, it's now 30 instead of 36 when reaching level 15. I think she's still good, right? Next is the nerf on Ling. They said Ling's damage output was still too high in the late game, so they lower his attack growth. Additionally, the center radius of his sword field will be slightly bigger. I checked it several times and I can't see any difference though. Are they referring to this part? Moving on, we have the buff on Brody. His physical attack growth is increased by 2 points. That's a plus 28 physical attack when he reaches level 15. Next is the buff on Fredrinn. The cooldown on his third skill is lowered by 1 second in the early game, and he gets more hybrid defense when using the skill. Next is the nerf on Alice. Her base mana is getting cut by 50 points. Meanwhile, her mana growth is also nerfed with a minus 10 points. Yeah, I think she deserves this one. Next, we have the buff on Pharsa. Second skill will now cost less mana, making it easier to spam in the early game. Additionally, her special skill cooldown is now fixed at 23 seconds on all levels. Next, we have the buff on Karina. Her passive will have a higher base damage, from 50 to now 100 points. So more burst damage for Selena's sister. Next is the nerf on Chip. His base HP as well as his defense growth are nerfed. Same for his first skill where its damage is now lower. They are slowly nerfing him to the ground. Next is the nerf on Clint. His physical attack growth is lowered by 2 points. That's a minus 28 physical attack at level 15. This is just a balancing feature now that his attack animations are smoother to use. Next is the nerf on Phoveus, where his first skill cooldown is now longer by 2 seconds in the early game. The developer said his performance has been strong in the recent tournament and ranked games, so now they'll nerf his power in the laning phase. Next is the buff on Lapu-lapu, where his first skill cooldown is lowered by 2 to 1.5 seconds. They said it's a way to improve his laning ability without his ultimate. Next is Hilda, where they lowered the cooldown of her second skill by 2 seconds. Similar to Lapu-lapu, it's a way to improve Hilda's laning ability. Next are more adjustments to the airborne duration on several heroes. Yuzong's third skill will have a 0.8 second airborne effect. Right now it's 1 second on official server. Julian's enhanced third skill airborne is now at 0.8 seconds. Now that Guinevere's airborne duration is reduced, they had to shorten the animation of her first and second skill so that she can follow up with her other skills more smoothly. Next, we have the towers. When there are no enemy minions in range, the tower's damage reduction is significantly increased. In short, they become even harder to take down without any minions nearby. This is probably the response to the new Malefic gun, where any marksman can deal damage outside of the tower's range. Fair enough, right? Lastly, we have a new season for the upcoming MLBB Rising. This time, you'll need to form a team and registrations are required. Here are the prizes you can get if you win the championship. And that's it for our weekly advanced server update. Stay safe and thank you for watching.